Okay, so free agency. This box, where it all started a few months ago. NRG leaves Apex. Okay, NRG leaves Apex. Rest in peace, NRG. Or in this case, NR6. NRG had a terrible relationship with Apex executives and the people who kind of run ALGS. NRG never had a merch booth. For the last couple LANs, we didn't even have somebody from the org go to the LAN with us. So, albeit our time on NRG was phenomenal, it was much needed for my mental health and other people's to be on an org that actually enjoyed being in Apex. Because my want and play for Apex needs to be, kind of match my orgs, and NRG didn't really have that towards the end. So that's fair to NRG. But NRG leaves, right? So then we enter free agency, right? And free agency looked like this. I will depict to you guys what our offers looked like. I'm gonna give you guys I'm gonna give you all the juice. You guys have waited long enough. Right here, we're gonna go to this box, Sentinels. A lot of people thought, if you had asked me right when we left NRG what org we were gonna end up on, I would have said Sentinels. Now, our first offer was from Sentinels, obviously. Next interest, DZ. Third interest, org I can't say because the players never knew. Sorry, can't leak that one. Fourth box, LG. So these were our initial offers. Now, we also, well, how much can I say here? I haven't really thought about this. We'll leave this for later. All right. So coming out of free agency, we, among a bunch of other orgs outside of Apex who had some interesting levels of interest. So we leave Apex. NRG leaves Apex. We enter the free agency portal. The people who originally wanted to work with me on an individual level were Sentinels, Dark Zero, org I can't say because the players never knew, LMAO, LG, and this mystery up here that we'll talk about in a little bit. Now, going out of free agency and coming off the last LAN, I knew we needed to do a roster change. I didn't know which, but I knew I wanted to mix it up. For whatever reason, I was just like, hey, let's mix it up the vibes, surround ourselves with new people. So we come out of free agency, and Guild and Nate, we all three were staying together, but all receiving individual offers as well. But the vibe was very much, we're probably not going to be sticking together, so everybody kind of go out on their own. So that originally started with me talking to Sykes and Guild about teaming, which was like stage 0 of like free agency. And then someone sabotaged those plans by just blatantly lying. We'll get to that later. There's some juicy drama here. I don't know how much I'm going to say, but there's some juicy drama. There was some, let's just say there was some sabotage. There was some full-blown org shade. There's a lot to be said. So that was step 0. But I was also down to play with Nate, because Nate, for what Nate lacks in passion online, he brings to passion on LAN. Nate is a phenomenal player on LAN. Like literally, Nate is so incredibly good on LAN. It's insane. But I think we can all agree as friends of Nate's passion for the game in general and online leaves a little to be desired. And I kind of came to the conclusion of myself that I need to surround myself with a little bit more energy to become the best. I think that's fair. I think Nate would agree. Love Nate to fucking death. Love Nate. He's still involved in LG. We're still using our 4th seed spot. So let's just kind of go down this. Sentinels. So you guys saw us trial Koi for a little bit. Let me say one thing, and I want you guys to take it the exact same way I say it. The contract that Sentinels offered, not only me, but our potential teammates, was so unbelievably bad. Like, there's like insulting, and then there's like thinking that the Sentinels people got hacked and we're talking to some random dude throwing out terms, because it was almost criminal what these people were doing. And that's just my pure opinion on the matter. So Sentinels, if you don't want to be in Apex, don't be in Apex. Don't lug it around like NRG did. Just leave. Unless you want to be here, then come in. But don't do what NRG did and force it, because that was bad. So the original idea was teaming with Koi and Nate. Koi was on XSET. Koi's now on XSET. Koi was on Sentinels at the time. I originally got approached by the Sentinels guys that they wanted to pick me up, Zenile and Koi. I didn't want to team with Zen over Nate because they're kind of the same person. Really, really good mechanically, kind of introverted. I'd rather team with the guy I've been teaming with for 3 years. So I didn't really pursue that. Now, fast forward a few months, Actually, immediately following that, Dark Zero approached me. And the DZ guy was very interested in kind of what I was doing, what I could maybe bring to DZ, because they didn't know what Zero was going to do at the time. And they were just exploring options. There was a lot more said than that, but out of respect for everybody, I won't say much. So DZ messages me. They're like, maybe potentially to play with Jin Burton, maybe to take over the org, maybe they stick with their own roster. It was just kind of like a interest exploratory mission. So that was cool. And that's what caused us to trial Jin Burton at one point. Org, I can't say because the players never knew. Just know your org tried snaking you. Your org tried snaking you, and the offer wasn't that good, or else you would have gotten snaked. I'm going to be real. Holy shit. I just said it. I feel so bad. But all I'm going to say is your org tried snaking you. No. But you guys have to differentiate snaking and being completely upfront. Because now we're going to LG, and a lot of people could say the same thing about LG with their team. In my mind, there's a big difference between snaking and just being brutally honest with the team. Snaking is a little sussy baka activity. Okay. Now fast forward to LG. LG was one of the teams that initially messaged me. Pretty much what LG said was, let me preface this with this. Yanya, Nizel, Jaguares, Pistillo. Nothing but respect for them. They were a better team than we were the last LAN, albeit we have a higher tournament placement than them. They're a fucking powerhouse. Absolutely legendary roster. We are on good terms with them. I spoke with Yanya. I spoke with Pistillo. No bad blood whatsoever. We are all in the same boat that this was a business decision made by LG, and I was just fielding offers. So that was a very important emphasis for me to potentially join LG, was I did not want bad blood with some of the best people in the game. Now, for reasons only known to LG, they decided they were really interested in me. LG approaches me months ago, and they were really interested. They said, hey, we know you're coming off of NRG not really enjoying Apex. We are so involved in ALGS. We're an ALGS partnered org. We want to have a merch booth at every LAN. We want to give you guys the best resources to be the best. We love Apex. We want to stay in it for a long time. This is just music to my ears, right? Because NRG was the complete opposite. So this is what caught my attention. So go in my shoes. Sentinels is just crazy. DZ was interested, but didn't know what they were doing. Or I can't say because the players never knew, or it was a little slimy. LG, from the get-go, was the most professional and the most excited about ALGS. And they were an ALGS partnered org, which was important to me. So that caught my eye, right? So now that we have all of these offers, and there's a couple offers I'm not talking about because they're orgs not in Apex, and I don't really want to bring them into the fold without, but just know, hey, I will say maybe just because they were interested in me more so than Apex, but I decided to go with an org inside of Apex because I wanted them to be an ALGS partnered org rather than, but just for your sake, a lot of orgs were interested in getting involved in Apex. So that's a good sign, right? We go through this esports winter. That's a really good sign moving forward. Now we have our offers. Now let's go back to starting to build a team. So we go to Sentinels and we start to, work around, what we would do with Sen. Me, Nate, and Koi was the original plan. We trialed Koi, did really well. We got third in scrims, 3-0'd our contest, went really well with Koi. But Koi was always, Koi, for reasons I definitely understand, given what happened with Guild. Also, Guild and I are on amazing terms. I think Koi originally had not cold feet, but he wanted to make sure that he was looking at all of his options, which I totally respect. I just got done yelling at Guild for an entire LAN. Koi's very young and impressionable. For the record, even Nate wasn't thrilled about potentially teaming with Koi because he kind of knows me and knows what it takes to win. So that was option one in Sentinels. Now, keep in mind, Sentinels is trapping Koi on his contract and forcing a buyout. At this time, we don't have an org, so it's impossible for us to buy out Koi. We go back to Dark Zero. Dark Zero is like, a whole bunch of nothing from these guys. But Jim Burton's down to trial with us. How much do I want to say here? Let's just say... something happened where Jin Burton suddenly felt like he wanted to team with different people. I'll leave that to your imagination. We trialed Jen. It went really well. I'm good friends with Jen, an absolute amazing player, more of an amazing guy. Love Jen. So there's that. We trialed Jen, went really well. DZ was weird. DZ is doing the visas for Jen Burton and Zero, which costs a lot of money to my knowledge. So that was always kind of weird as well. Orga can't say because the players never knew. I'm going to stop talking about that one, but that was fucked. That was just fucked. Maybe one day I'll leak that randomly one night, but that was fucked. Now we go to LG. I'm trying to paint this picture of how cool LG was. LG was like, hey, we're a business. We want to get somebody in Apex like you because you bring a lot of value to our org. You obviously, I'm like number 5, number 6 in earnings in Apex, and I could easily potentially one day win a LAN. And I checked all the boxes on there, and to them, they'd rather take a risk with me than continue their team. Now, something happened with Chivas, if I remember correctly, or the Chivas portion of LG Chivas parted ways or something. I don't know. But LG was really interested. And they said, hey, listen, we trust you. They put their trust fully in me to build a roster of people I want to play with. They gave me a salary cap that I could work around, and they were very flexible with that. They gave me, their contract was so good. I can't go into the specifics of the contract, but LG has some of the best contracts I've ever read in esports. And I've been on like 4 orgs. I've been in esports for a long time. Shout out to LG for doing it right and being an org that is going to keep players happy for the long time. Amazing contract, LG. And not just for me. My agent negotiated my contract, and most orgs, when my agent puts this contract through the ringer of our entire agency, my teammates of Slayer, Funk, Sven, Nate, all of them, usually they wouldn't get that same contract. LG would just give them kind of like the basic contract, but LG was so cool and gave the same exact terms that I got from being kind of clouded to everybody on the team because my agent negotiated it. They were so cool about everything of the contract. It was insane. They were so cool about everything. So all of those cool terms I got for my stuff, LG just said, hey, if your agent negotiated on your behalf, we'll give it to everybody on the team. And I was like, hallelujah. Other orgs don't do that. So LG said pretty much, do what you want with the team. We don't see a world where we can keep anybody on our current team because obviously Yanni and them are an amazing team. They're going to stick together. And I talked to Yanni about that. So that's what led us to trialing Lou. At one point, you guys remember me, Nate, and Lou. We gave, for whatever reason, everyone started to freak out when we trialed Lou. We gave everybody 3 days of trials, right? And Lou got the same 3. And it was just like World War III. Some people love Lou. Some people hate Lou. I don't even know. But what went really well with Lou, I quickly realized for something just like clicked in my brain one morning. And it's kind of sad, but it's unfortunate what happened, but it is what happened. So I just like woke up one morning and I just didn't see us winning a LAN, me, Nate, and Lou. Shoot me if you have to, but I just didn't see the path forward with that team. So I pretty much just like nated my feet. So regardless of if you agree with that, I just didn't see a path forward with that. So because we were running out of options with thirds, and we'll talk more about the Sentinel Koi situation and the DZ situation, at this point, there wasn't a lot of premium thirds that I was interested in playing with. So I felt it necessary to maybe team with another team and play with 2 completely new people. So that ties us back to the Sentinels thing. Now, the question mark up here is a complete curveball halfway through free agency, whilst Nocturnal messaging me saying, hey, do you want to try out for X at triple M and K? What the? Noc? Have you done meth recently? Triple M and K? Stop. Now, Nocturnal messages me that, and I'm like, what the hell? I told him I don't know. And Nocturnal, I respect the hell out of Nocturnal. Literally, such a good person in game, an even better person out of game. Amazing guy. Get along with him great. Love Noc. Noc was cooking the triple M&K. Took that as a great compliment. But I literally told him, I'm like, dude, for both of our sakes, just get a really good controller player. Now, that day, the day before that exit offer, how much do I want to say here? I'm just going to say it. Fuck it. The day before that exit offer, we had over text, Koi made it very clear to me and Nate, he is 100% wants to team with us, and that this was kind of one of our offers from Sentinels. We'll join Sen. This is before we got our Sen offer. That was just literally laughable. We would join Sen with Koi. He already said he really wanted to play with us. He wanted to lock that in. So then the next day, Nocturnal offers me Nocturnal wanted to allow me to try out. There's a big difference between that and offer. I want to make that clear. I say no to that because out of respect for what we had previously said the day before with me, Koi, and Nate. Now, that because I missed the trial that day, Koi trialed with Xset, and then that night said, hey, I think I'm going to stick with Xset. Koi's young, but that was just kind of funny. Now, what I think caused that more than anything was Sentinel's contract was just terrible. Shout out to Xset, another org like LG. Xset is really involved in Apex. Great org, has a lot of money, really likes their players, player-friendly org. Koi was probably approached with the decision of staying on Sentinels and getting paid almost nothing, or joining Xset with 2 amazing players and getting bought out. Now, Xset was willing to buy out Koi from Sentinels. That was the big difference here. And Koi eventually, hypothetically, hasn't been announced yet, but in a hypothetical sense, I don't want to leak anything, but obviously this is all just yep. Okay. I forgot that. Is he announced? Is he announced? Oh wait, he leaked 2 months ago? He said it? Okay, we're good. Yeah, so that's what happened. Okay. All right, so that happened, and Sentinels got back to us with the contracts, and we were just like, what? So we're like, all right, fuck's in. DZ, one thing led to another. DZ trialed a bunch of people back then, but I think what ended up happening is DZ wanted to stick with Gen and Zero because it was approaching the point where we needed a Pro League spot. And DZ had just spent money on their visas, so it made the most sense. Obviously, Gen and Zero are the only other duo in the game to win a LAN. Absolute phenomenal players. No surprise there. But that was all. The DZ thing was very weird. And there's more to that story, but I'm not going to leak it out of respect for the players. I keep laughing at this box. Org I can't say because the players never knew. It's just so dumb. Now back to LG. So the question mark was the XSET stuff. Now LG comes around, and they were just always the whole time super cool, super responsive. The one thing they wanted to do was in the thing that made the difference between LG, who handles things correctly in esports, and these guys was they wanted to do right by the team they currently had. Both of these orgs have pretty good teams, but LG wanted to be the most honest, forthright, and immediately tell the team the second they could to allow them to have the most opportunity to find a new org. The other team wanted to wait longer, kind of wait to see contract negotiations and get all the way to the point of where we are actually fully signed to move off of them. So that was a big red flag. LG, and the elephant in the room, I've already addressed this in the past, LG's previous team are amazing. And for reasons I don't know, LG wanted to move off of them, but nothing but respect for those guys. If it was up to me, they would be signed immediately, and they should be. But LG handled it very well. I care a lot about how well we handle things. When we acquired Guild from Liquid back in the day on NRG, we handled it so above board, and I care a lot about that from an org perspective. So shout out to LG for that. But that was the big difference maker between these last two orgs. Okay, so this is the brief org breakdown. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this, because I'm gonna keep going in depth. But this is kind of what I was talking about. Now, this was the XSET offer. Nope, not offer. Trial. Whoa. All right, now. Oh, for memes, you guys are asking about FaZe. It's a funny joke, but Snipe said on a podcast about 8 months ago he'd never team with me ever again, and then the second his team blew up, he texted me asking me to team. So I did hypothetically have the opportunity to join FaZe as well, but on principle to Snipe down, come on Snipe, we're gonna write come on Snipe. If Snipe had never said that, I most likely would have teamed with him, as albeit we argue, there's a lot of passion. But Snipe kind of shot himself in the leg there. Come on, Snipe. So yeah, that was another option too, but I didn't really go farther. All right, so these are the orgs: XSET Trial, Sentinels, Come on, Snipe, which was a kind of a phase thing, Dark Zero, org I can't say because the players never knew LMAO, and LG. There was a lot more orgs outside of Apex, but I won't get into that. Now we reached the point where now we're on the timeline. We need to find a team, right? And I decided not to team with Nate and Lou. I decided not to team with Nate mostly because it was going to be almost impossible to find a third. So I started to look around for other duos about a month and change ago. Some of the initial interest was Pan and Zara, who had recently... What happened with them? Oh, they got removed from Furia when they were playing with Mac, and then Furia picked up Watson, Madness, Kiam. So that was option one. But the option and this wasn't necessarily an option, they were just kind of interested. Super cool people. Pan and Zara, awesome. Zara's one of the most underrated people in Apex. But option two was a double controller of Slayer. We all know Slayer, right? And Funk. Now, Funk is, like, on a mechanic standpoint, insane at the game. Like, literally insane. And he's also a very smart fighting IGL, which is important. How long on NRG did we go without an actual support player? The good thing about having three cooks in the kitchen with me, Nate, and Guild, was nobody could really play support. Now, that's what Senior Slayer has filled the gap with. And let me tell you, he has been doing so well. He's learning support. He's somebody who is, like, constantly watching the back. He's, like, just such a natural support player that has allowed us to do so well already. And for whatever reason, we're just, like, really good off spawn. Obviously, we've been contest practicing Moist, TSM, other teams. We're doing a lot of work behind the scenes right now to work on this contest against Skirt and Lava Fisher. But I went with Slayer and there's other, I shouldn't have even mentioned these two up top. Let's just delete these because nothing really happened there. And there was a lot more other duos, but I just won't really get into that. Let's just kind of, now. So yeah, so this is going to be kind of a new look. I'll be honest with you guys. It's the most excited I've ever been since originally teaming with Nate and Guild back in the day and originally teaming with Rocker and Nate. You know, Guild ended up in a great spot with Moist. Nate's doing his thing, but still involved here. You know, if it were up to me, Nate would have the most immense passion in the world and come back to Apex and play. Will that happen? I have no idea. But on a personal level, I'm really excited to play with people that are constantly on the game, TDMing. We're always contest practicing. We are always VOD reviewing. It's so much easier to be happy about playing Apex when the people around you are happy. That was a big issue on the old team. Now, Guild's on Moist. You know, we contest practiced them yesterday, and let's just say the boys are not looking hot, but you know, they'll figure it out. I'm trolling. They did good. So we ended with Slayer and Funk. It's a new page. I'm just so excited. I'm so excited to get to work. You know, the expectations will still be there, but yeah, man, I'm just so excited, bro. I really am. Like, I can't put into words. Like, it really is going to be so much fun to team with new people. And, you know, I've been in Apex since day one, so it's been cool. And Nate's still involved. Nate's currently, like, deciding whether or not he wants to, like, become a streamer for the time being. Obviously, we would all love to see Nate stream still, but that's kind of the ball's in his court. Right now, Sven is still our data scientist, the absolute god. Oh, the Sykes Guild sabotage. Oh. Let's just say the DZ coach took a thing of acid and then just started saying lies to a bunch of people. It wasn't until, you want to hear the funny drama about this? So I think ZZ may have gotten a little lippy with people in terms of like trying to get people to join their team. I don't really know ZZ at all, but I didn't know that. So Guild and Sykes thought I hated them and thought I tried snaking them for the better part of a month. And they never were messaging me. So I was like, hey, life. All right, what happens? It wasn't until I talked to Nocturnal. And Nocturnal like randomly mentioned to me, he's like, yeah, like hopefully Sykes still doesn't hate you. And I was like, what the fuck does that mean? What do you mean by that? And Noc told me. And I'm like, what? So I immediately messaged Sykes and Guild. And it was hilarious. I messaged them. I'm like, hey, this, and this. What's going on? And Sykes messaged me, and supposedly I was sabotaging Sykes. I told DZ that Sykes had mental illness issues and that Guild was a liability because of his girlfriend. Could not be further from the truth. First off, I never said anything about Sykes. And when it came to Guild, the DZ person himself mentioned something about Jim Burton having issues with the girl. And I said, hey, Guild made it work with his international girlfriend. And albeit Guild had his issues on LAN, you can work through it. Because that's when I was talking about maybe teaming with Jen. And that got turned into me shit-talking Sykes about mental illness and calling Guild a liability to the org because he has a girlfriend. So I talked to Sykes and Guild about this. Guild's pissed. He's like, bro, what the fuck? People are so cringe. Guild thought I hated him this whole time. And I'm like talking to him and we came to the conclusion like, all right, we've both been lied to. Sykes pretty much just rats out ZZ. He's even on DZ. And Sykes was like, fuck this, and just dropped the nade at his feet and said, ZZ's the one who told me that. So, yeah. I don't really know what happened there, but that's what kind of stopped that from happening, which is a shame, but also at the same time, like maybe that was the best because Guild's on Moist, Sykes is on DZ, everyone's happy, everyone's on a great team. ZZ though, come on, man. What the fuck, bro? And any people up there in DZ that maybe started that rumor, shame on you. But yeah, that was weird. That was very weird.